And this guy helps him out with the bike, and then he looks up and he's like, "Wait a second, what the fuck? Are you Jerry Seinfeld?" Like, imagine just seeing Seinfeld.
I'm a gay man.
Why?
No, I'm just a homosexual man out for a bike ride. No, I'm just some gay guy.
That it is. What's up, Trant? Will everybody come through? Yeah, that's in tune. Tom Verlaine, man. Sucks. 73. What a bummer. Start frosting the tips silver. Maybe I will one day. Is the mic coming through fine? That finally. Or from last week. Blue Album Deluxe. Hey, it's not an absolute. There are ones that are worth it. We'll hopefully see them. It's a little quiet. Okay, that's not a problem. As long as it doesn't get distorted or whatever, let me know. It's going into the yellow a little bit, whatever. Just keep an eye on it. Funny, you know, like we were talking about Tom Verlaine. Like I forgot, I didn't forget about this, but I didn't know it was still out there. So bad.
The dearth of good albums is quite stunning, really. New Order's new album, not Substance, but Brotherhood. That's good. And that Petrol Emotions album's good. And the Cocktail Twins album, The Moon, The Melodies is good. There's hardly anything like records that I thought would be really good, like Tom Verlaine's new album. Oh, it's a dreadful record, no. So I've like Mary plays the Cure album a lot.
Dude, bagging on Flashlight, bagging on some 1987 Verlaine. Come on, man, give him a break. What's up? But yeah, I thought we were, you know, if we're talking about value, like easy value is deluxe editions, like avoiding deluxe editions, because they, like, such a preponderance of times, they're just not worth it. Like, you're never going to listen to the stuff on the other, you're never going to listen to the stuff on the second disc, like straight up. And the ones that are good are so few and far between. It's absolutely silly. But the point is that because they exist, and because, you know, predominantly Universal Music Group, I mean, they own this. You can't use this. It's a trademark. It's a copyright. So they started this in the early 2000s. I'm pretty sure, I seem to remember, like, there was a big one that came out right around 9/11 for some reason. That reminds me of that. But it, you know, it's all the typical shit you'd expect at the beginning. Like, you know, Live at Leeds, Frampton Comes Alive. I don't know why Blind Faith was the second one, but like Marvin Gaye, you know, like really good stuff. Some of it's weird. Some of it's like, what? You know, like why do we got to make sure Rick James Street Songs is one of the first deluxe editions? Really weird planning in that respect. But, you know, a lot of it is, like I say, it's really understandable why they went that way. The weird thing about this is like, yeah, see, so it's so annoying. Not all these links actually go to the deluxe edition. So it's like I got to load, you know, 254 versions of Live at Leeds to see it. But a lot of them do go to it. I like that they add that white bar. I actually think it's cool. I'm totally down with that as a branding move. I think it makes a lot of sense, but whatever. Not to everybody's taste for sure. It as you go through though, you know, I mean, it starts out in its predictable classic rock and it's huge names and it's James Brown and it's, you know, Bob Marley and the Wailers, and then all of a sudden the Gin Blossoms, New Miserable Experience. Like, what? Like, this is the first sort of, you know, like modern rock. Is there anything? I think it's the first one. Yeah, everything else except for Rick James is, you know, the Wailers, Frampton, Who, like, and then New Miserable Experience. Like, unbelievable. That's going to come out before VU Nico. What? Like, who's running the cataloging on this? Anyway, weirdly, if you're at all a fan of this band, you know, so well, look, what's the point of it? The point is that when this happens, when a deluxe edition comes out, whether it's UMG or it's Matador, like this is a huge example. We talked about Sub Pop last time. Matador put out 2 CD deluxe editions of all the Pavement stuff, Yola Tango. And so the original CDs, because again, indie rock, everyone has a vinyl fetish and all they care about is getting it on vinyl. Well, Matador has put out so much shit vinyl, it's unbelievable. There's like 3 different awful pressings of most Pavement records. There was a single LP repress. I don't know if it was 2004, 2009, or 2014. One of those years they did a reissue of single, just, you know, the regular album of all the Pavement albums. And it's absolute rubbish. Like, it's such shit. The vinyl is crap. It's such a joke. Yeah, exactly. Matador vinyl is like Pringles. It is. I mean, until they got really serious about it and everyone got serious about it and the monopolization of vinyl production became this big cartel thing about 5 years ago with Secretly and everybody. Like, the whole thing is a total joke. If you're an actually independent label, good fucking luck getting anything pressed. We've talked about this. Obviously, it's frustrating for me and my partners in the label we're trying to start because it's just not a fucking option. It took us a year and a half. We have one piece of vinyl we've produced. It's a double LP gatefold. Finally, boys. I don't think it's within reach. It is. So this took a year and a half to make. Double LP set. We did it with a Canadian plant because no American or European plant would even listen to us. And half the ones I talked to within, like, because it was during the pandemic, half the ones I talked to while we were in like proposal stage shut down because they had so much demand. It's absolutely stupid. Anyway, so, you know, we'll get to, in the back half, I'll get to like probably heavily Matador because I did Sub Pop last time. But what happens is the original CDs just go for nothing because in indie rock in particular, which obviously is heavily twinned with, you know, the Discogs world, right? It's rare pressings, classic rock, vinyl pressings, and then like a lot of indie rock and electronic shit. We've talked about it before. Like, there's no, is it a deluxe edition? There's like so little hip hop on Discogs, which is a majorly overt, you know, demographic tell on what's going on over here. Like, I should be seeing Nas CDs for 25 cents and Master Ace all day, but there's nothing. And what there is, it's not cheap. So that's sort of frustrating. It's something that other collectors that that I'm in touch with and talk to, you know, daily or whatever, we've been talking about that recently. Like, trying to build up a hip hop collection on CD is actually really hard. It's asymmetrically brick and mortar. And we've mentioned it in one other stream. But anyway, so in this case, funnily enough, if you like the Gin Blossoms' New Miserable Experience, which has a bit of sort of, you know, literary cachet in terms of the narrative behind it and the tragically fucked up guitarist that kills themselves, etc., this is actually really good. There's an unbelievable bed of good shit on this. It's the whole closet cleaned. So if you care about this band in any way, like Hey Jealousy, Till I Fall Away, the singles, if you're not somebody who's irretrievably like Gen X embittered by how saccharine and overexposed this band was, I mean, it's this and Hootie and the Blowfish. Like, they were so overexposed. It was fucking brutal if you were my age. And this band was so, it was annoying. And they knew it too, you know? I mean, similar to how Third Eye Blind knew, you know, that those guys were like indie rock, you know, guys, knew cool music and shit. But they made a decision to make relatively attractive, simple pop, and they blew up, and then it's like, oh, we're the assholes now. That's like strangling everyone else's opportunity to get promoted because we're taking up all the oxygen. That's what happened with this band for a good like 2 full years at least, up through the Empire Records soundtrack, which is where their last really good hit is. But this thing is fantastic. And I mean, going for $20 used, it's not great, but none of the deluxe editions are great. And what they open up is the asymmetry of just getting the original CD, because New Miserable Experience you can get for literally a penny anywhere. So you can own the original album, the original article, enjoy it, and like later on think about, you know, expanding and getting into it. But the presence and existence of deluxe editions, this isn't a really dramatic case, but it does drive this value opportunity for you if you're collecting CDs. You know, VU and Nico, this was super, you know, anything that happens with them is controversial, right? This in particular is not well regarded. So I mean, there's a lot of reasons for it. One, all you're getting is a mono mix, and it's dubious as to whether or not this actually is the original mono. Exactly. If you want to spend drip and get yourself a VU collection, get the Banana Long Box CD. Very much the same way with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, you want to get the Playback Long Box CD, and it's the same with the Jam. Like those big long box sets, all in the late 90s, those are all really almost consistently great. There was a lot of time and effort put into them, into the quality of the mixes, the mastering, and the presentation. Those are really, really good value. This is not where you want to go, and that's why there's 41 copies of it starting at $370. The mix, the master of this has always been contentious, and then it's like, why is Chelsea Girl on here? Like what? It's very strange. And you know, VU is a horrible band to talk about in terms of collecting, because it's just a mess. And it's similar, like they're far more, you know, foundationally important and renowned and everything than say a Stooges, who have a similarly awful, you know, history of being improperly resurfaced and documented all wrong. Did I pass over the banana box? This is what you want. So Peel Slowly and See, to me, this is the best any of these records ever sound, and on CD anyway. Well, songs, whatever. It's a box set. It's not clean cut like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. But this is the box you want. And it is, again, because it's CD, you can get this. It's not that bad. Like, this is, someone's got a, you know, what they're claiming to be a mint copy for $70. I mean, you're paying essentially less than inflation to get a hold of that. You get 35 copies of this in the States right now. And I'm sure somebody is asking absolutely hot garbage for it. But yeah, 150 sealed, right? Sealed for 150. I mean, look, if you care about sealed hype sticker, you're going to get hit all day. But if you go down, I mean, there's somebody, okay, Tatty shrink wrap, $75. You can get this thing though easily. This should be multiple copies in the $30 range. Yeah, I'm missing the banana sticker. Oh God. You know, I mean, silly. So 30, 35, even in today's market, I mean, this thing used to go for nothing. You're gonna get, yeah, so you got missing, whatever, no box, you know, whatever, missing box. But you know, you got copies for $30 here, a number of them, 30 to 40 bucks all day. It's absolutely worth that. And you're pretty much like well on your way to having some of the best masters and presentations of that original VU stuff. Recommend that all day. The Verve Warner CDs, okay, yeah, I mean, you're coming in, I got you on that totally. If you are serious about this band, I'm talking about like, you can get all in a catch-all in one place here for that much, and that's great. But yeah, the Verve WB CDs are definitely the reference. Like, that's where you want to go for the individual albums once you're talking about being a completist and getting an archive, etc. But you know, going through, there's so much, like the Kinks piece of this too. Oh my God, this was so funny. They were right at the beginning, and Tubular Bells, which, oh, that's so funny too. Like Virgin was like, it has to be Tubular Bells. That is our, because this is what launched Virgin is Tubular Bells. So that one's out there. And again, that's one where, you know, look, do you need the deluxe edition? It's too, you know, long ambient, you know, drone pieces. Like, I mean, I don't know that you really, you can get the original CD for nothing. The early 90s Virgin CD, you can get that for nothing. Versus the deluxe edition, that's, I mean, this has been reissued so many times. Can I even bother wasting time scrolling through this? The deluxe edition, I think, has work prints and all that shit. I mean, this thing's gone through the SACD process. It's everything. It's absolutely nuts what they've been doing with this thing over the years. But it, CD, reissue. I don't know. I don't want to spend all the time on it. Unfortunately, it's just a nightmare. There's just so many friggin' editions. But again, because of all the editioning, you can get yourself the original CDs for nothing, right? Kinks, sort of similar, but the issue here is that the original Kinks CDs are not at all. They're not well regarded, and you don't have the mono, the original mono, etc. This, unlike what I'm saying about a lot of these needless ones, these are pretty valuable, and they don't go for a ton yet. I mean, Kinks is weird, like they're big, whatever, but there's a lot of other acts that have the problem of being involved with labels like Sanctuary and Castle Music and stuff. These really kind of sketchy imprints that got their hands all over all kinds of stuff. And so they were super active in the 90s, but they had shit mastering and just awful, just really ugly work done on those. The Kinks ones, though, absolutely recommend that. But anyway, if we go, I'm just going to resort by year because I blew up the page there. So VU, yep. And then this is the other funny thing. So I mentioned New Miserable Experience, and then they were like, well, and Bad Out of Hell 2. So Bad Out of Hell 2 and New Miserable, those are current albums that get this treatment. And then you get Sonic Youth Dirty. I mean, this is the album where most people would say they fall off. I still like it. I like a lot of it. I love Drunken Butterfly 100%. We've talked about Sonic Youth probably in every stream, but the deluxe edition of this, again, makes it so that the original CD is 50 cents. And the deluxe edition is just, there's just not much there. It's strange though, this whole pursuit of repackaging deluxe, etc. So many of them have been ignored, and then so many of the other ones have become silly. There's a deluxe of Rattlesnakes. I don't know that a lot of people caught that at the time. Lloyd Cole and the Commotions. This has their breakthrough, or maybe not breakthrough, but absolutely one of their signature singles, "Are You Ready to Be Heartbroken," which I absolutely adore. And this, I don't think this came out in the US. Yeah, it looks like it's a UK Euro only. Going for 12, a little over 10 pounds or whatever. In this one though, you got to be kind of a big fan. I don't know how many people are going ham on Lloyd Cole B-sides, and certainly it presents one of the other issues, is that so frequently deluxe editions just have live shit, and that's eye of the beholder. I really don't know. Everyone has a different opinion about this. I'm not a fan of live recordings, generally speaking. There aren't many where I'm like, holy crap, this really opens up and adds to the material in question. There are a few bands where it's like, wow, they actually sound so different and better live than they do on record. And it's the question of the production of the record being an aspect of the significance of the songs. Well, that's obviously completely altered live. So, this one is one where, a lot of these B-sides, I remember a couple of these, but it's a tradition that, again, it just creates the opportunity for the original CD to go for nothing. Here's a really good example. In Excess's Kick. Man, you do not need anything on the B-side. Actually, I shouldn't even. So there's the deluxe edition. This is even cheap now, because then they then came out with this absurd, what was it? Kick 20, 30 something. It's like a ridiculous box set. And you get to the point where you're like, do I need this? Do I need this stuff? It's really weird. Because they spend a lot of money on these things, and they cost a lot of money. And, what are they adding to the conversation? Where is it? Kick 20? No. It's got a different cover than that. Kick 30. Wait a minute. No, there's a 35 too, isn't there? Oh my god, you gotta be kidding. No, it's 30. Okay, I was like, so there's a Kick 25 and a Kick 30. 30 is the one I'm thinking of that was actually done in the US. And this thing, like, I need this in Dolby Atmos on a Blu-ray. I mean, it's a great record. It's so period. It's one of my favorite records ever. I listed it in my top 10, I think, of the 80s for back when I was at Pitchfork. I love this record. I always will. Front to back, it kills. Listen like these before it. I talk about it all the time. But look at this. Do I need the demos, the Chicago demo of Mystify? Do I need, you know, like a live one-off cut of Kick, the title track, or like, it's bizarre. Then you get like Ben Lieberman's extended mix, the 12-inch, you know, Kookaburra mix, and Nick's 12-inch mix, the new set. You're never going to listen to this stuff, ever. You know, and so there's one copy of this for sale for $100. Meanwhile, like the OG BMG and Columbia House CDs of this go for a fucking penny. Yeah, silly. And again, you know, you're going to have the cred tax and the goth tax and all that. You know, you see the Cure there. Certainly not a band I need to talk about on the stream again, but the Cure ones are always going to be high. They're not going to go down in price. Beatles First, that was an interesting one. But you know, mostly we're talking about, again, existing albums like Disraeli Gears. Here's an example. Existing albums that have multiple CD variants. The presence of the deluxe edition means like you can get the original for nothing. Like what was on the deluxe of this? Downward Spiral. Oh my God. Ridiculous. Dylanism at its peak. Yeah, no, definitely. And it's funny when you think about that happening to like an INXS, right? You know, it's one thing if it's you know, Blonde on Blonde, the you know, the 63rd anniversary or whatever. When you get into stuff like, you know, why are you doing? I mean, this one here, similar to the Talking Heads stuff, this is about the SACD thing. They really tried to make SACD happen and convince people that it was sonically superior to CD. It's just not. It's stupid. I mean, the other thing, like for example, the Talking Heads. I have the brick box, the SACD multi-channel mix of all the Talking Head stuff. Someone created a simulated mix of what that actually sounds like if you put the channels apart, and it's they did the best possible job you could have. Don't get me wrong, but it's so disorienting. It sounds nothing like It sounds nothing like the original albums. This one's just a real grab bag situation. So, you know, if you're a fan, it's pretty much everything around that time, and you get Dead Souls without having to buy anything else. The Quiet Mix of Hurt. There's gems on this one, but this was produced. I'm surprised. I thought there'd be more of this. This was produced in enormous numbers, and probably isn't going to be a steal. But of course, the original CD will be because of it, right? And then infamously, yeah, the Blue Album, right? I mean, this one is the one that, you know, most people like. Oh God, I gotta load this. There's how many? 115 versions. The Blue Album is infamous for being surrounded by a whole collection of really, really good. There's already 2 TDS remix albums. Yeah, I know that came out after, right? I mean, it is kind of silly. The deluxe edition of this, obviously, you're talking about like Jamie and all those comp tracks and Nickel and Carly and all those stories. The acoustic version of Jamie, the acoustic version of No One Else. Like, you know, this one is worth getting, but again, there's so many copies of this because they were bought. This was like Weezer went through like a number of phases of becoming cool again, with, you know, all the way through to Pork and Beans, Beverly Hills, Hash Pipe, you know, and to say nothing of you know, the big one with a Bip Bip, what is it, Islands in the Sun or whatever the fuck. It's on the green one, right? But, you know, they went through so many periods of young kids first learning about alternative music, where Weezer's your tween intro band. They got that like 3 or 4 times. So there's just an absolute avalanche of copies of any of their stuff you can get for almost nothing. The riff on Buddy Holly is now a meme. I mean, Weezer kind of was a meme from the word go in so many respects. It's guilty of buying deluxe edition at Best Buy. Yeah, I'm sure. Here's an example I talked about before. If only it was more common, it'd be great. This is really great, and the only thing is it just sucks that they gave up on it. This is one of the best deluxe editions ever. But it's not easy to find without paying a lot for. It's going to be easier in Europe. In the US over here, we're screwed to find a copy of this. I ended up getting a copy of it off eBay just on it, like not part of a haul, just straight up single transaction for like $18 or something, just because it is really strong. But you know, the ones that aren't is sort of the idea. Do I need the 8-track demos of Sonic Youth's Goo? Do you really need that? Like, no, you really don't. Do you need like Lee number 2, like this indulgent, like you don't need any of this. That you absolutely don't. Do you need the Wharton Tears Jam can song? Like, no. So because this is out there, you know, that's 30 copies that people are going to think is like, well, I can get more with this. That means that the original DGC CD from 1990 goes for nothing. That it's just, you know, it's a way that the market remains unsettled. And introducing is, oh god, that anniversary introducing is so bad. The original tracks already sound like demos. Bzzz. Peel sessions generally are a good addition. They're usually not, like, it's only recently that Peel sessions they've been giving them up to record labels for deluxe editions, because in the past, obviously, that was a cottage industry, was the Peel session 12 inches and CD EPs. I mean, everyone that's Gen X like went through a phase of trying to collect all the Peel session CDs. Like I had the Joy Division one, I had the Cure one, I had the Susie one, like, and the iconic cover of the Peel session CD was brilliant branding. But yeah, if in the event more modern bands, you know, they are getting added. This is another example. Hopefully it drills up to the right one. It doesn't. The deluxe edition of Songs from the Big Chair. I have this because I found it at a retail place for nothing. I got this for $6.99 sealed. You don't need this. Like, it's nuts, man. Like the cabinet cleaning, like just unloading of junk, like the 12-inch remixes of Shout and whatever. Like, you're never gonna listen to it again. Just get the original, and like the fact that it's the original article in and of itself is like more historically accurate. So go. Yeah. This is the most infamous example ever. I talked about this in a podcast. I did not talk about it here. I won't, you know, go too long on it, but this is literally criminal. So this is the original album, but all of these bonus tracks have been on the CD edition of this album since 1990. All 5 of these bonus tracks, they're on the singles. This is the original CD that came out. This was never available on CD until 1990. It only got reissued because The Cure blew up so big. Those 15 tracks are on the original 1990 CD. So what gets added? This second CD that says RS vocal demo. Robert Smith vocal demo. Wrong. He recorded this in 2005. It's an absolute atrocity. It sounds nothing like, it's criminal. People should have got their money back. Because Severin and Smith lied about it too. When people were asking him, like, are these alternate vocals Robert singing because he was prevented from singing on this album by his management? And they had to get a female singer who's just like a Susie clone. He only sings on 2 songs. He sings on, what is it? Perfect Murder and Sex I Make Up, I think is it. Oh no, Mr. Alphabet Says. And so everyone had wondered for, 20 plus years, is there a version that has Robert singing all this? Because it would be one of the best albums like ever. And they totally milked that demand. And Robert went into the studio in like 2003 or 2004 and recorded new vocals at like, age 48 or whatever over the backing tracks. It's just fucking ridiculous. There should be a class action lawsuit. Eat a Peach. I mean, everybody's got to have this. You got to have this. But again, how many freaking times have the Fillmore East concerts been issued and appended to edition? Like, forget it. Get the original CD of Eat a Peach. You can get it anywhere for nothing. There's no reason to get the deluxe. Really dumb. Everybody needs Songs from the Big Chair. Nobody needs the deluxe. You got it. That's sort of the message. And then, again, this is not a blanket statement here. But can I reach without like pulling the mic out? Let me see. Eep. Where is it? Is that it? I can't reach it. That's Prodigy. Public. Yeah, no, I'd have to get up and pull the mic out. But this is one you want. You absolutely want this. The deluxe edition of this is hardcore. I I don't know. I got this for nothing. It doesn't look like there's many going for nothing here. But again, I may be looking at UK Europe prices. This is an absolute friggin' monster. There's just so much good shit around this album. In this case, you do want it. And the demos are pretty fun. I don't know. You need the rough mix of Tomorrow Never Dies. I don't know that gets them away from the reality of not licensing the original, the actual recording. But the proper version of Cocaine Socialism, like all this indulgent shit, I love it. I mean, if you're in for pulp, there's lots of great stuff. Yeah, Cocaine Socialism should have been, I mean, absolutely should have been one of the first 3 songs on that album. There's no question. It's such a dumb oversight. And again, different class, similarly. Buggery bollocks. These deluxe editions are actually smoking hot. I'm pulling up the Thailand one. So the Nick Cave version of Disco 2000, and the vocoder mix of Common People's kind of whatever, but you get the Glastonbury 95 performance. And then, there's some cool stuff in here. Like, again, this is a band, and the label in this case and the band did right by a period where the band was blowing up and they were feeding off that creativity, and they just had tons of good stuff going. So that's a band where I would hunt for them. I passed by 2 that are definitely like no-goes. You don't need the deluxe edition of Orb's Adventures Beyond the Ultra World. Like, there are so many copies of the original album. It's so iconic. Little Fluffy Clouds. I mean, this is this huge ever-growing pulsating brain that rules the center of the Ultra World. Like, this is absolute cornerstone early techno, down. I mean, this isn't necessarily the one that's got like the most bloopy bleepy. That's the one after the 92 one, UF Orb. That's the one that's like got some biosphere shit going on. But those reissues, it's just all awful dated remix shit, and like it's just noise. And I wouldn't say it's the majority, because I'm getting like my eyes getting drawn to like, oh, that's a good deluxe edition, even though I'm talking about not buying them. The majority of them are superfluous noise and just garbage, emptying your closet for no reason. This is a great example. You don't need a deluxe edition. Like, I need the 12-inch mix of Pour Some Sugar on Me. No way. It's silly. And so there's all these dumb like covers where they're doing like their credibility covers. What do they do? My Generation, Come Together, Whole Lot of Love, like, it's just so, it's really weird. You're never going to listen to it. And, exactly. Hysteria and Pyromania, the original CDs, Def Leppard's not like a vinyl purist band, of course, but they're retro, right? So even like mainstream shit that's retro, kids are going to want to buy a 12-inch of Pyromania, not the CD. So the demand keeps staying down, and you can make out, because those 2 albums are flawless. Pyromania and Hysteria, you got to have. I mean, fucking, come on. It's one of the most incredible productions, insane productions ever. I mean, even if you want it for that reason alone. Sublime. So this one, up to you. I don't need the Wyclef Jean mix of Doing Time, 7 different mixes of Doing Time. But there's some acoustic stuff if you're, whatever. If you're a big Sublime fan, you buy into that whole eulogy. Maybe there's opportunity there. John Martin's Grace and Danger. Damn, I forgot they did that. It is wild though how quickly, like, this thing, they kind of like, they froze it a little bit. Is it what's the year where like they kind of stopped for a minute because it was just like, people are not buying these. Maybe '08 is kind of the one where it was weird. Yeah, they did the Whiskey Town one, like Feist the Reminder. Really weird decisions. 2 Eddie Grant ones. Oh yeah, here's one you do not need. Oh yeah, here's a couple we can talk about that you just do not need. Yeah, World Machine Deluxe, nice. UF Orb, there's the one I was talking about. Counting Crows, August and Everything After. Good Lord. All right, so here's a few we can talk about for sure. Oh, too right. So UF Orb, again, you don't like, okay, yeah, there's the ambient mix of Towers of Dub, which is actually pretty cool, but it's, you know, it's just 15-minute mixes. It's paging through shit and whatever. And like, look, Majestic and Blue Room, these are hugely important early, you know, iconic, you know, ambient into the whole like white room concept and chill out music and shit. This is such an important record, but like absolutely you don't need to blow, you know, $37 on a deluxe edition to get, you know, the Mark Angelo's ambient mix or Andy Hughes OB. Like there's just no, it's silly. And again, here's another one, a live album. Basically, you get the home demo of Eric's Trip and then just a bunch of live shit. Like, this is crap. It just bothers me. I think it's stupid. And then they do add the cover EP that was around, but these weren't, I mean, I don't know if I need to hear them doing a Mudhoney song. I don't know. It's, you know, you're not getting fleeced on it either. If you can find copies around $10, whatever. It's up to your financial situation. For me, I want the Enigma Blast First copy because that label is not easy to collect for necessarily. The original label that released this, because they went belly up and like fucked their whole shit. But yeah, this is another one again, live. And I mean, look, you get the demos here from the Pathway cuts. These are actually cool, predominantly because this album was such a controversially bad budget, fucked up, blown out recording. I mean, My Aim Is True sounds like shit no matter how you slice it. But I mean, for me, this is absolutely pointless in the face of the authoritative, Rhino editions from when in the 90s. Those those deluxe editions rather, those were absolutely the shit. I've collected almost all of them, and that's where I go. And you can actually get twofers of them, which some people overlook. It's the same stuff. This is the Ryko. That's what I meant. Did I say Rhino? Ryko. I mean, it happens all the time. They did do Rhino stuff too later. But the 2.5 Years box, I have this, and this is like a really cool thing. You can get this for nothing. It's die cut. So Elvis Costello is cut out and die cut. It's a 12-inch form factor. The Buzzcocks did one of these too. You can get this all day. And it's got like so much good stuff, and there's such good mixes of these albums. It's the first three. It's Armed Forces, this year's model, and My Aim Is True. And you get the bonus of live at El Mocambo. So this is this famous show they did in Canada. Whereabouts is it? I can't remember. The El Mocambo. I mean, it's such a ripping set. I mean, this is what the package looks like. You get this huge booklet. When you open it up, it's the only place you can find that I'm aware of a large form print of Costello holding an AK-47 in his mouth, and it says "Don't join" over it. It's from the inside sleeve of Armed Forces. And I actually tore this out and sent it to David Shapiro, the blogger who did Pitchfork reviews, and then like he did 2 books. One was called Supremacist. It was about his obsession with Supreme stuff. And then the first one was You're Not Much Use to Anyone, is what it's called. We had a little pen pal thing going. I loved what he was doing with Pitchfork reviews. And he was like a twin. He was twin kind of like with Carl's, the hipster runoff guy, in terms of their tone and their like meta elevated New York style, attitude and sneering toward Pitchfork and at that time where I was, and sneering toward all of us and how stupid and self-serious everything was. And I sent him that, as well as the handwritten pavement review of Slanted and Enchanted that I had done on Pitchfork. But so this box is, I mean, you can get this for nothing from tons of collectors. They can't get rid of it. No one wants CDs. I only say that because I rebought a copy because I had ripped up and damaged my original one. I rebought a copy on here, and it wasn't too bad. I think I paid like $20 for it complete. Yeah, there's a promo copy with a UPC hole for $23. I mean, these are such good masters and such iconic. Like the set itself is iconic. Mine actually still has the sticker, which is cool. And let me look up the Buzzcocks one, because that is monstrously awesome and important because it has a rarities disc on it, and people don't, people just don't care and don't remember. I don't know that these sets came out. But they're so, in these cases, it's like I was saying at the top about the long form box sets in the late 90s. People took these really, really seriously and spent a ton of time preparing them and making them right. This is the Buzzcocks one. This is such a must. 40 for sale from $13.99. I mean, if you've only got like singles going steady and you don't have any other Buzzcocks, straight up buy this right now. Go on Discogs and get it. I mean, you cannot believe it is so complete. The mixes are so good. Okay, so this is missing the box. $17.99, 2020 damaged shelfware. VG Plus, $20. 18 pounds. A lot of, I'm surprised so many of these copies are in Europe and England, because this actually was pretty common on Restless over in the States. There's also a cassette version, which I bought in a Strawberries Records cutout. Right around 9/11, I was still in Boston, and I went to the Strawberries in Downtown Crossing, and they had this cut out for like $8.99 complete, sealed on cassette. But this thing is just unbelievable. It's got, it's all the album, it's everything. So you got Another Music in a Different Kitchen, Love Bites, Different Kind of Tension, and Singles Going Steady, all within there. Then you have this many parts CD. Now this has, the Live at the Lyceum concert, and then it also has, all these, cool outs and extras. The cool thing here is, where is Our Everything? So Our Everything is on here. Our Everything is Raspberry Beret by Prince. It's not like he heard the Buzzcocks, but it's the same song. It's really funny how similar they are. It's a really good outro. So yeah, I mean, if you're not aware of this thing is a monster get. And it's got a full 12-inch size scale glossy book that comes with it, and which is excellent, full of great notes and stuff. This is the many parts CD. So I mean, this is what because I always play this because it has all the rare stuff and the Lyceum concert that's so much fun. But yeah, this set is a monster get for the kind of prices it's going for. And do they show the booklet? Doesn't look like they're showing the booklet, but there's a huge booklet inside. Again, as I say, vinyl form factor. As far as CDs go, these are two compilations, two box sets that you're absolutely going to be able to take down for such good value. And they're just, it's like I was saying, in the Zeppelin stream, the Crop Circle box set. Yeah, it's not period correct, it's not historical, it's not canon, but man, is it enjoyable. And it's the original remaster project. It's Marino's first pass at all the tapes. And collecting those presentations, those masters and mixes, if it's for you, it's for you. And it's not for everybody, obviously, because how many subs we're going to have on this channel. I got to learn about UCD. Anyway, so Counting Crows, again, a live set. Now, I don't want to be a total dick. This band actually was pretty good live. Not that I ever saw them, but I had an experience later in life where a friend of mine tried to start a digital live music company, and their principal investor was John Bon Jovi, and I think he's sold out of it since. Not Bon Jovi, the guy that I know, and their first band that signed up to be filmed using this new surround. I just did a live buy. Oh, we gotta do this like Twitch. I gotta give you like flair or something. I'm so fucking old. I don't know. Can I give you like make a little, what do I do? I don't know. I was going to make a little thing go off. I guess that's Twitch only. Anyway, this band, Counting Crows, signed up to be the first band to be filmed. Oh, give me soundboard. Oh yeah, we had our first live buy during the stream.
You fucking joking.
So this is a dog shit deluxe edition. Acoustic demos and a live show. Come on, man. That's not even trying. Super chats. Yeah, I think if we get to the point where if we can possibly ever get 1,000 subs to this channel, some things get unlocked. I don't think it's just monetization, so maybe we'll be able to have more fun. But I don't know how long I can keep fucking doing this for. Anyway. So yeah, Counting Crows signed up to be the demo band, the band that, yes, that's Living in a Box by Living in a Box from the album Living in a Box. It goes back to so a lot of the people involved in the label and the community or whatever that were mostly is here. We had tried out, the Amazon or Spotify Green Room. Amazon did one called Amp that we didn't touch, but Spotify we were thinking it was going to be like a live radio show and you could actually play music and talk over it. No, the mic ducks the music out and it was such crap. But anyway, during that, I did a couple of kind of podcasty live streams, and in them I did an episode talking about singers that so intentionally tried to sound like black singers, and the number one for me is Living in a Box. I mean, that dude, people thought Steve Winwood, they used to joke and call him Stevie and think, he's Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder because he had such a, incredibly wide vocal, his vocal cords opened up so much and it gave it that breadth and that width. The dude from Living in a Box is just like, it's the chorus, the second measure, the second line of the chorus, where he's like, I found a way to break through. Like, it's just like, it's so obvious. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, it was a thing in the 80s and it's just so gross. Like, look, whatever. He loves soul music. I get it. Daryl Hall loves soul music. I don't want to get into discussions about the appropriateness of any of this, but like, there's some examples that are totally like pork salad. It's just not okay. That shit's not okay. Anyway. So, Counting Crows, I'm never going to get to this fucking story. They signed up to be the first band for this digital 360-degree live performance thing. And the idea is this. You're a record label, you have a band. How many, going on tour is expensive. How can we monetize touring, right? And so they were thinking, instead of the horrible reality of Golden Voice and Live Nation and Ticketmaster that we've ended up with, what if everybody who went to that show automatically got a digital copy of the show filmed in 360-degree 4K with all these cameras, but it's this repeatable setup. It's this, the truck comes in, they drop this ring around. It's like a totally canned production for 4K perfect digital recording of your favorite band. And if you go to their show and pay that ticket, you get this for free. And it was this whole thing, and then they were going to release it so people who didn't go to the show could buy it, and it was not a bad business model. I thought it was fucking brilliant. I wasn't somebody who has the kind of money to invest in things, but I went to a couple of the whatever events or whatever. I didn't go to the one that John Bon Jovi was at. That was in Long Island. If you search on Getty Images, there's photos of it. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, they had some big investors. There was big money coming in from Korea for K-pop bands. They thought this was the greatest idea, and Sony invested a little. It just didn't happen. Live music just isn't doing it, and you can see how much worse it's gotten. The Boston Scream. No, I got to refresh, because this is predominantly sound bites from the Big Les show. If you're not aware of that, it's an Aussie animated kind of scrundle goof, MS Paint goof. It's just fucking brilliant. I mean, I'm such a, pathetic, Aussie file, all that shit. I'm just such a sucker for the quirks and lexicon of other cultures and how funny it is, and the fact that we don't have access to it. America sucks at this, and these other cultures have so much funny shit. But anyway, yeah, it's just brilliant stoner comedy. It's so fucking good, and for people who are from there, it's incredibly rich and deep in the nuance of the goofs and jokes it makes. And the, common phrases that bogans and people would make. If you Google the famous example of the guy who's even the Australian news reporters can barely understand him. The guy who's had a car crash into his mom's store. The shit's just funny. Where's the other version? I only have that one. Where's the Nulsy one? Did it go over on the other page? Oh, I know what happened. I put, when the World Cup was going on, I put some brass. That's why it got bumped. Anyway, so a deluxe edition of World Machine. I mean, this is the one. If you're gonna get into level 42, because there is something about you. I love that song, man. It's just one of the best 80s songs ever. Just so lush, middle of the road, 1985, fucking. Nothing says Fleet Street fucking suspenders, I'm gonna go blow up the natural gas market and bankrupt barons, than Something About You, and Wham, and Tears for Fears. All this stuff is, and it's Americans, Tears for Fears, it's sort of equally fabric of the 80s, but they didn't get level 42. I mean, yeah, it got played on the radio and it got charted low, but this isn't the same kind of thing. Where in the UK, the 80s boom of everyone buying 911 Porsches and fucking, just champagne at 10 in the morning and all that fucking shit. Read the Michael Lewis book, Liar's Poker, where he talks about how he got his start in London visiting a trading firm. And he tells stories of like you could make a playlist and something about you is 100 gonna be on that shit. Um, so yeah, I mean, do I need live level 42? Do I need the Shep Petty? Well, the Shep Pettibone remixes I do collect, but I am not familiar with his mix of Something About You. I'm gonna come clean on that. And at 8 minutes, don't know if I could get there. It's one thing for his mixes and the New Order stuff that is so built for that, but Something About You is a pretty straight, kind of Rick Astley-ish, Stock Aitken Waterman song. It's not like New Order where it's like there's all these little parts and it's not architecture in the same way where I could imagine a Shep Pettibone or an Arthur Baker turning it into like this incredible, I don't know. You tell me. I'm going to go listen to it after this. Maybe the Shep Pettibone remix of Something About You bombs. I don't know. But, I should, before we end, here's an example. Dog shit. It's a live show and it's Larry's Hideaway show. Famous show, great. Why the hell would I buy this if I can get the original CD for nothing of Murmur? Also, there's the AM Plus, the AM Gold series, I should mention. These are really massively actually different. So this is a key thing. Like, I don't know that a lot of people would know unless you're like older. In the 80s, IRS and A&M had this kind of dance going, and A&M's move or idea to capitalize on CD is to it's got them chords. So hold on, let me find this. What do they call it? They has a name, so they also did a gold ultra disc of this, which is, missed me with that. Way before that though, where the hell is it? How do they identify? Oh, do they consider it a compilation perhaps? That might be what's going on here. CD album reissue IRS 84, IRS. Now we're in the 90s. I don't think it was in the 90s. Here it is. No, it was 94. So there's the Ultra Disc, which, again, forget that. There's also an OMR, which is 24. They're both the same. I mean, there's no question they're both the same. But, weird. So this thing is awful. The Capitol Catalog edition of this, oh my God, this sucks. Don't get that. The mix is awful. No, so the one I'm thinking of, it says UK and Europe only, fine, whatever. It's the A&M Masters series. This is what I'm talking about. So this was a thing where they did these different masters. I think there's police ones. Yeah, here you go. These things are unbelievable. If you can find these, I don't know how this is not a complete list because they did Reckoning too. Well, this sucks. Anyway, on the back of it, if you look on the back of it, it says A&M, it says like plus. It's not like the gold plus whatever OMR. It's a different thing and it has B-sides that are added to it. They did it for Reckoning and they did it for Fables too. And those are the CDs of this, if you can find them, that you want to get. I just don't know. It looks like Discogs is indexing them really strangely because it's pretty obvious when you see it. You're just like, oh yeah. All I'm seeing is the OMR, weird. And the MFSL, blah, blah, blah. A&M, Reckoning, Deluxe Edition. Nope. All right, so I'm just going to check compilations, and then I'll just leave this alone. And if you're curious, look for it. It was a branded thing A&M did with a whole bunch of different releases. And it was around this time. I don't know where it is. Murmur and Reckoning, Twin Pack, nice. Anyway, the first three, they didn't do it for, I don't think they did it for, it could be unknown year. Yeah, it's possible. It's like down here at the bottom somewhere. But it's really cool. They added some other cuts. Is this it? The Italian reissue. The IRS years, this is it. Yeah, see? This is what I'm talking about. It says the IRS years at the top. So, and then they added bonus tracks. So they added stuff. I mean, this is on Dead Letter Office, but they added these live versions of stuff, which are absolutely great. They also, like I said, they did it with Reckoning and with Fables. I think the Fables one is actually pretty sick. Wow, that's funny that it's getting indexed all weird. But it has that band across the top that says the IRS years, and that's how you know what it is. Man, this is pretty torturous. Sorry, guys. Yeah, and it doesn't look like it's listed as unknown here. So I don't know, but if you can find them, if you're an REM fan at all, those editions, they have really sweet masters. And I mean, look, the A&M, these Ultra discs, obviously they sound great, but like they're not, there's no validity to them being sonically superior. They are different masters though. If you side by side them, it's pretty evident. And then we could end on this, I guess. Man, I love this band, and I have the stupid, like, ridiculous box set they did. You know, like, I'll fully admit that. It's, calling all, it is, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I think there's 15 versions of I Am the Key on this. Like, there should be a whole CD that's just versions of I Am the Key. Because it's not, wait, it's not this, is it? This is the one with all the live shit. No, we've talked about the Laws before. We've talked about this a bunch of times. It's way more than okay. This album's a 10.0. Get out of here. But they struggled a lot when they were, you know, early on. And yeah, so there's I Am the Key. This is a song they never got right, but like fans loved it. They recorded it in their kitchen. And it, you know, that version was hunted for. I'm trying to think of what I'm thinking of. There's an edition of something, and I don't know if it's this album or something else they came out with. It's not this. But I thought it was Call and All, but I'm looking, and I Am the Key only appears on Call and All once. There's definitely a version of this that has it, like, it's an absurd number of versions of I Am the Key. Is because there's like a 3 CD version of this? I don't know. Huh. Well, that's weird. I can't remember what it was. I just remember somebody on Pitchfork like absolutely trashed it. It must have been some oddities thing. I'm not finding it. But anyway, you know, this is one where you do not need to hear the Mike Hedges version of this album at all. Like, you don't. And you don't need to hear the early Porter run at Doldrum. Like, no, you don't need any of this. Now, the Buddy Holly, I actually love the cover of That'll Be the Day. Like, ideally, to me, it would be cool to have a single disc deluxe of this that just had like the good stuff that was peppering around it, those contentious extra versions. Like, the only thing you care about with Mike Hedges is his version of Timeless Melody. It's actually really good and interesting as a counterpoint to, you know, the version that everybody that ends up on the album. The Hedges mixes are really chubby and have a lot of treble, but there's definitely a couple of songs that are interesting, but there's absolutely no reason that you would need to own this, you know, especially if you've never heard it, because it's one of the most common used CDs ever, and I talked about it in that stream. But this project, you know, we're coming toward the end of time here. The deluxe edition project overall for UMG, they pretty well took a bath on this thing. It's totally dead now. And a lot of the choices they made were just like superfluous. Like Underworld's Second Toughest in the Infants, that's not a band you want to put out a deluxe edition for, because anybody who's really into them probably has like 75 copies of every Underworld single and is like a lunatic with like Born Slippy Nooks 87 times. And they did some weird stuff like, why did we do Prophets, Seers, Sages, and Angels of the Ages? What? Like, very strange decisions. This isn't the period of T-Rex that everybody would have been clamoring for, you know, even if they did it at the right time. Ocean Color Scene gets a deluxe. Like, give me a break. It's such a strange thing. To Cal, this one's awesome because this has the Prodigy version, I think, on. Yeah, this is the most important. This is the like top 5 big beat things ever done. If you've never heard of and don't have Prodigy's remix of Reissue Delphi Method Man, and if you don't have the album To Cal, you have to have both of these things. And the deluxe edition of this is absolutely worth buying to get it all in one place, because this was really hard to find for a long time. It was on a compilation, and that's how most people heard it. And so this is, you know, I can't speak to the Puff remixes and instrumentals and shit, but this thing here, this is one of my favorite cuts ever. The combination of one of the best rappers, most unique rap styles, and, you know, Progenitor's a big beat, and they put a slamming beat on that thing. So fucking good. I love it all day. And I mean, the album's great. It's a classic from the time period. Oh, somebody mentioned Therapy. Yes, there are deluxe editions of Trouble Gum and Infernal Love. So if you don't know Therapy started out, I'm going to get in trouble. Somebody's going to get mad at me. Therapy started out basically as like a more threatening Ned's Atomic Dustbin. I was never a fan of this band at all. And by the time you get to like Trouble Gum, they're just going for grunge. Like Die Laughing is just a total grunge song. I just was never a big fan of this band. They got their fans, you know, their roots are in industrial and whatever. But, you know, Nurse was a big, you know, they got signed to a big label. Nurse did really well, you know, ish in the UK. A lot of people rep for them. They were taken seriously and they had some credibility and whatever. It didn't hit for me. I never liked them. I mean, Baby Teeth really is just like, there's a lot of, to me, like Ned's style on that. Ned's greater than Therapy. But yeah, no, Infernal Love, well, it's Infernal Love by this time. Look at the macho swag. Wish I had some glasses down here I could do my impression. But you know, by this time the band's going through a lot of tension and friction, and you know, the cover of Diane is really, I mean, if you haven't heard it, like the fact that they were into like old Huskers is pretty cool. But yeah, this band is just such a weird thing of like, are they doing glam? It's kind of like I mentioned Afghan Wigs in the last stream. Like by the time Afghan Wigs are getting big, it's like, are they going for it? Are they not going for it? Like it's just really weird. They're kind of in this limbo of like, you can't call them sellouts or whatever. They were playing music that was really aggressive and not part of the mainstream in any sense. It's not like they were, you know, this is like EMF is charting times. So, you know, in relative terms, you know, you have to be fair to a band like Therapy. But I was listening to EMF and Therapy at the time, and I never got into them. All right, so I got to call it because American playoff football, not even I am immune to that. And we'll be back Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern this week. And you know, good hang. Thanks everybody for coming out. As always, it's fun. The chat is great to have that to feed off of because things run out. Hooday. We are getting ready for Joe Burrow to stunt on these hoes. So I'm stoked. It's it's the only time of year I actually watch and get excited for football. So thanks again, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday, hopefully. All right, bye.